You ever walk into a room and feel something shift? No words said, no gestures made, just a weight in the air. You can feel the tension wrap around you like invisible smoke. You smile, but something inside whispers, be still. You're not safe here. That's not paranoia. That's discernment. That's your spirit recognizing energy your mind hasn't yet named. And if you've ever felt that you already know what it's like to be in the presence of someone who secretly hates you. Now, here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Hate rarely starts loud. It begins quiet. It smiles. It claps for you in public and rolls its eyes in private. It congratulates you with one hand and counts your flaws with the other. And the moment your growth outpaces their comfort, that's when love turns to resentment. Not because you changed, but because you reminded them they didn't. You'll notice it in their small reactions, the delayed response to your victories. The forced laugh when you share your joy, the subtle way they shift the spotlight back to themselves whenever life starts shining on you. They don't argue, they withdraw. They don't attack, they dismiss. That's how silent hate survives, through subtle sabotage wrapped in civility. But here's what I want you to understand. Your job isn't to expose them. Your job is to outgrow them. When you sense that distance, don't chase it. Bless it. Because detachment is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I refuse to fight for a seat at a table God's already asked me to leave. Some people are lessons, not lifetimes. Stop explaining your peace to people who profit from your chaos. Stop proving your goodness to hearts already made up about your worth. The moment you stop defending yourself to those who secretly despise you, you reclaim your authority. Their hate only had power when it needed your reaction to survive. You don't need closure from a person whose spirit was never open to begin with. Let silence be your statement. Let peace be your protest. You don't have to clap back when you've already ascended beyond their reach. Because when you're anchored in purpose, betrayal can't shake you. When you're grounded in love, rejection can't break you. And when you finally understand that divine detachment isn't about walking away from people, it's about walking back into your power. That's when you stop fearing who secretly hates you and start thanking God for showing you who they really were. People who secretly hate you rarely show it through open hostility. They wear masks, polite words, friendly gestures, supportive tones, but underneath it all, their energy betrays them. You can feel it even when they think they're hiding it well. Their smile doesn't reach their eyes. Their congratulations feel rehearsed, and their presence feels heavier than their words. You find yourself questioning it, wondering if you're overthinking, but what you're sensing is truth, because energy never lies. Long before words form, the spirit reveals itself. A person who harbors hidden resentment will often overcompensate with niceness. They'll be 2, kind, agreeable, trying to convince both you and themselves that what they feel isn't hate. But hate wrapped in courtesy still poisons the air. You'll notice small contradictions. Their tone doesn't match their words, their actions don't match their claims, and their laughter carries the stiffness of control rather than joy. These are the subtle tells of concealed animosity. When someone secretly hates you, their body language shifts unconsciously. They avoid eye contact when you speak about your accomplishments, or they look for flaws in moments of your success. Their posture stiffens when attention moves toward you. They may even compliment you, but their compliments are laced with comparison, small jabs, or hidden disapproval. It's like they're applauding with one hand while tightening a noose with the other. You can sense it not in what they say, but in what their spirit transmits. That's why discernment is such a sacred gift. It allows you to see past the disguise of politeness into the truth of intention. You begin to notice that their help comes with conditions, that their interest in your life only appears when you're struggling, never when you're winning. They'll listen when you're hurting, but grow silent when you're healing. This is the behavior of someone who doesn't wish you well, but wants to stay close enough to witness your struggle. Recognizing this truth doesn't require confrontation. It requires awareness. You don't have to call them out. You simply have to stop giving them access. Because once you start trusting the language of energy over the illusion of words, you'll realize you never needed confirmation. You already knew. Their energy told you everything their mouth refused to admit. Indifference is far more dangerous than anger because anger still acknowledges your presence, but indifference erases it. When someone is angry with you, it means they still care enough to react. Their emotions are stirred, their attention is invested, and somewhere beneath the frustration, There's still connection. But indifference, silence, avoidance, emotional distance, that's the slow death of relationship. It's the quiet withdrawal of energy, the invisible closing of doors. It's the absence of care disguised as peace. And most people don't notice it happening until the bond is already gone. When someone secretly hates you, they often won't fight you. They'll simply stop feeling anything toward you. They'll stop asking how you are, stop showing up for your milestones, stop engaging in real conversation. Their responses become shorter, colder, more mechanical. They start existing near you, not with you. It's a silent retreat, a gradual fading where warmth used to live. You feel it in their tone, in their delayed replies, in the way they seem physically present but emotionally absent. They haven't left the room, but their spirit already has. Indifference is cruelty in slow motion. It says, you no longer matter enough to move me. That kind of detachment isn't born from peace, it's born from hidden resentment. They'll justify it as being busy or tired, but what's really happening is an emotional disengagement rooted in contempt. They're not too busy. They're too unwilling to invest energy in someone they've decided they no longer value. And that's what makes it dangerous. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It's invisible erosion. The most painful part is that indifference can make you doubt your own worth. You start wondering what you did wrong, why they changed, or how to bring the connection back. But the truth is, you can't resurrect interest where the spirit has withdrawn. Trying to do so only drains you. You don't heal by chasing attention. You heal by accepting that silence is sometimes the final answer. When someone becomes indifferent, don't chase their energy. Match it with peace. Let their distance teach you the value of your own presence. Because indifference may disguise itself as calm detachment, but it's really a confession they've lost the ability to feel joy in your existence. And that's not your loss, it's theirs. Envy is a quiet poison that often hides behind the mask of praise. A person who secretly resents you will often wrap their bitterness in beautiful words, offering compliments that sound kind, but carry a subtle sting. They'll say things like, "You're lucky you got that," instead of, "You worked hard for it." Or they'll smile and tell you, "I wish I had your life," but their tone doesn't carry admiration. It carries a silent accusation, as if your success is somehow unfair. Envy has a way of disguising itself as support, but the energy behind it always feels wrong. It doesn't heal you, it drains you. When envy lives in someone's heart, your progress becomes their discomfort. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your light exposes their shadows. And your blessings remind them of what they haven't received. So they start performing kindness instead of feeling it. They'll act happy for you, but the happiness doesn't last long. It fades the moment the attention shifts back to you. They might post supportive comments online, but deep down, they're waiting for you to stumble so they can feel balanced again. That's not love. That's rivalry dressed up as friendship. You'll feel the difference when someone's admiration is pure. Genuine people celebrate you without comparison, without turning your success into a mirror of their lack. But when envy is present, praise starts feeling heavy. It doesn't uplift you. It leaves you questioning whether you should dim your light to make them more comfortable. You might even start shrinking yourself subconsciously, talking less about your wins, softening your joy, just to protect their feelings. That's how envy manipulates. It makes you responsible for someone else's insecurity. But you were never meant to apologize for your blessings. You don't owe comfort to people who resent your growth. When compliments start feeling like chains, it's time to listen to your spirit, because your discernment can sense what your heart doesn't want to accept. Not everyone clapping is clapping for you. Some are keeping rhythm with your downfall. So instead of trying to fix how they feel, protect your peace. Keep shining. Keep rising, because true love doesn't choke in the presence of your light. It breathes easier. The right people will never envy your elevation. They'll celebrate it as proof that blessings are real. When someone celebrates your pain and questions your progress, it's a clear sign their loyalty was never rooted in love, but in convenience. Real love doesn't take pleasure in your struggle, and true friendship doesn't shrink when you rise. But some people are only loyal to your lesser version, the one that needs help, the one that feels small, the one that makes them feel big in comparison. As long as you're down, they're comfortable. As soon as you begin to rise, they grow uneasy. That's because your healing threatens their control and your strength exposes their weakness. You'll notice how their tone changes when you're doing better. When you're broken, they show concern. When you're rebuilding, they become distant. They once gave advice freely, but now they question your every decision. They used to comfort your pain. Now they minimize your progress. They'll say things like, don't get ahead of yourself, or you've changed not because you've become arrogant, but because you've become self-sufficient, and your independence strips away their false sense of importance. For people like that, your pain was never compassionately shared. It was quietly celebrated because it made them feel superior. They disguise their insecurity as concern. They'll tell you they're just being honest, when really they're trying to plant doubt in your spirit. They'll praise your growth publicly, but criticize it privately, telling you that you're lucky or implying that you don't deserve what you've earned. That's not love, that's resentment in disguise. Because love rejoices when you rise, love multiplies joy, but envy multiplies suspicion. When you encounter someone who seems happier when you're hurting and quieter, when you're thriving, don't argue with them. Recognize them. The human heart can pretend with words, but it can't lie through energy. You'll feel the truth in their reaction to your progress. Their silence when you succeed is louder than their comfort when you fail. That silence is their confession. And here's where wisdom steps in. Don't try to win them back. Don't prove your worth, and don't dim your light to soothe their wounds. Just keep walking, because love built on convenience can't survive growth. The moment you outgrow their comfort zone, you also outgrow their loyalty. And that's not your loss, that's your liberation. Distance isn't always disrespect. Sometimes it's divine protection. When people start pulling away from you, it's easy to feel rejected, to wonder what you did wrong, or to take their silence as an insult. But not every separation is a punishment. Some are sacred realignments. Sometimes God removes people from your life not because they're evil, but because their season in your story has ended. What feels like abandonment may actually be a form of mercy, shielding you from energy that can no longer walk in rhythm with your purpose. When someone secretly hates you, their heart begins to distance itself long before their feet do. Their words might still sound kind, but their tone grows colder, their availability thinner. They stop showing up the same way. You sense it, but you keep trying to fix it, thinking if you love harder, they'll return. Yet, spiritual detachment isn't something you can undo. When energy no longer aligns, connection can't be forced. That's why forcing closeness with people who've emotionally detached from you only leads to confusion and exhaustion. Their withdrawal isn't necessarily betrayal. It might just be revelation. There's a certain peace that comes when you stop chasing people who have quietly decided to step out of your atmosphere. When you recognize that distance is not rejection, but redirection, you begin to rest in trust rather than react in fear. Sometimes God allows the distance so you can see clearly what you couldn't see up close. You start realizing that while you were trying to keep them near, their presence was quietly draining your peace. You were mistaking familiarity for loyalty and comfort for love. It takes spiritual maturity to understand that walking away can be an act of love for your peace, your growth, your calling. Detachment isn't about pride or coldness. It's about recognizing when holding on has become a form of self-betrayal. Distance, when divine, isn't rejection, it's refinement. It makes space for new energy, deeper connections, and higher purpose. So when someone you care about begins to fade, don't chase their shadow. Bless their path and keep walking yours, because if their heart was meant to stay, distance could never drive it away. And if it wasn't, no amount of closeness could have made it real. When your light threatens their darkness, they'll try to dim you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your presence reminds them of what they've chosen to ignore within themselves. Some people don't hate you for who you are, they hate you for what you represent. You carry growth, healing, courage, and that unsettles those who've grown comfortable in mediocrity or bitterness. Your confidence exposes their insecurity. Your peace reveals their chaos. Your purpose confronts their complacency. And rather than confront their own shadows, they try to make you feel guilty for shining. They'll say things like, "You think you're better than everyone," or accuse you of changing when in truth, you're just becoming. They'll try to make your evolution seem like arrogance because acknowledging your strength would mean admitting their stagnation. When your spirit begins to elevate, those bound to lower energy will either rise with you or reject you. There's no middle ground. And it's not that your light offends them intentionally, it's that it forces them to see their own reflection more clearly. The brightness of your truth reveals the corners where their pain still hides. This is why some people will start small fires of doubt around you. Subtle criticism, backhanded compliments, whispered comparisons, not to destroy you outright, but to make you question yourself enough to dim your own light. Because once you start doubting your worth, they no longer have to face their own. But here's the truth, your light isn't arrogant, it's divine. It's purpose. It's the evidence of your healing and your connection to something greater. And anyone who truly walks in love will never feel threatened by your illumination. They'll feel inspired by it. The moment you understand this, you stop apologizing for your brightness. You stop shrinking in rooms that can't handle your glow. You realize that if your light irritates someone, it's only because it's exposing what they refuse to heal. Don't take their discomfort personally. Take it as confirmation. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. Keep shining, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Because your light isn't meant to make them feel small. It's meant to remind them that they can shine too if they choose to heal. True love corrects in private, but hidden hate criticizes in public. When someone genuinely cares for you, their correction is rooted in protection. They want to see you rise, not crumble. They'll pull you aside, speak truth softly, and guard your dignity while helping you grow. Their intent isn't to embarrass you, it's to empower you. But someone who secretly hates you doesn't seek your growth. They seek your exposure. They'll wait until the crowd is watching to question you, mock you, or make a point at your expense. Their words may sound like constructive criticism, but their timing and tone reveal their heart. You'll notice it in conversations where they subtly undermine you under the guise of humor. They'll make jokes that cut too deep, highlight your mistakes in front of others, or casually share things you told them in confidence. It's never about helping you. It's about positioning themselves above you. Public criticism becomes their way of reminding you and everyone else that they hold some kind of imagined superiority. That's not love. That's ego disguised as honesty. Genuine people protect your image even when they disagree with your choices. They know that correction without compassion can feel like humiliation, and that real friendship values trust over theatrics. Someone who truly loves you will say, "Let's talk later," not "let me prove a point now." But hidden hate thrives on exposure. It feeds off moments that make you small because your vulnerability fuels their pride. They don't correct to build. They correct to break. When you encounter this kind of behavior, don't argue. Don't defend yourself publicly because that's what they want. A reaction to validate their false authority. Instead, recognize what's happening beneath the surface. They're not trying to help you grow. They're trying to protect the illusion that they're above you. The louder they try to correct you in front of others, the more their insecurity is speaking through them. The wisest thing you can do is detach from those who use your flaws as entertainment. Love doesn't expose, it covers. And correction that humiliates is never love. Remember, the people who love you will protect your name in public and correct your heart in private. Everyone else is just pretending to care while feeding on your fall. A person who secretly hates you will compete where they should have collaborated. Instead of standing beside you, they try to stand above you. What begins as subtle comparison turns into silent rivalry. They can't celebrate your wins without feeling the need to prove they can do it better. And it's never about success itself. It's about validation. Your progress reminds them of where they feel behind, and instead of being inspired, they feel threatened. So rather than join hands with you, they start measuring themselves against you. They turn what could have been partnership into competition. You'll notice this in small ways. When you share an idea, they'll quickly share a better one. When you accomplish something, they'll rush to mention their own success. It's not conversation, it's comparison disguised as dialogue. They'll study your steps not to learn, but to mimic and outdo. Collaboration would mean equality, but competition feeds their insecurity. They want the connection only if they can control the narrative of who's doing better. And when you start excelling beyond their comfort zone, they stop showing support altogether. That's because they weren't cheering for you. They were competing with you in silence. True connection is built on mutual upliftment. When someone truly cares, your success feels like theirs too. They don't feel the need to match your energy. They amplify it. But hidden hate can't do that. It disguises itself as ambition, but runs on jealousy. These people may appear motivated and hardworking, but their drive isn't pure. It's fueled by comparison. They don't want to grow beside you. They want to outrun you. And when you don't engage in the race, they start resenting your peace. That's the beauty of maturity, realizing you don't need to compete with anyone walking in their own purpose. You stop running in circles trying to prove yourself to people who secretly see you as their benchmark, because real purpose isn't about being ahead, it's about being aligned. If someone can't celebrate your growth, without feeling diminished. Let them go. Their competition reveals their hidden insecurity, and your refusal to compete reveals your confidence. Never let someone's jealousy turn your calling into a contest. You're not here to outshine anyone. You're here to fulfill what's divinely yours. If your peace annoys them, it's because your spirit exposes their unrest. There's something unsettling about being around a person who carries calm in a world addicted to chaos. When someone is secretly battling inner turmoil, your stillness becomes a mirror they don't want to look into. They'll confuse your silence for arrogance, your boundaries for distance, and your detachment for pride. But what they're really reacting to is not you. It's the reflection of their own discontent. Your peace reminds them of what they haven't yet found within themselves. People who live in conflict often need noise to feel alive. When you no longer entertain their drama, they begin to feel invisible. They'll poke at your calm, test your patience, and try to drag you back into emotional turbulence, not because they enjoy fighting, but because your composure makes them confront the chaos they've been avoiding. It's easier for them to blame your peace than to admit their lack of it. So they'll say you've changed, become cold, or that you don't care anymore, when in reality, you just stop participating in the pain that once bonded you. Your peace doesn't just protect you, it exposes others. It reveals who was drawn to you for harmony and who was drawn to you for havoc. When you start walking in stillness, the ones who thrived on your old chaos will feel displaced. They'll try to provoke you back into arguments, gossip, or emotional instability because peace removes their power. They can't manipulate a calm heart. They can't control a steady spirit. That's why your peace irritates them. It means you've taken back control of your own energy. The more grounded you become, the more you'll see who's genuinely with you. Real love finds rest in your calm. False love finds offense in it. The ones who truly care will protect your peace, not provoke it. The ones who secretly resent you will interpret your serenity as superiority. But the truth is, you don't owe anyone the chaos they crave. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's sacred. When your calm starts to bother people, it's not your cue to shrink, it's confirmation that you're evolving. Because peace isn't weakness, it's spiritual power dressed in silence. Detachment isn't coldness, it's quiet confidence. It's the strength to remain centered when everything around you tries to pull you into chaos. Many people mistake emotional detachment for apathy, but true detachment isn't about not caring, it's about caring without clinging. It's the sacred understanding that you can love deeply without losing yourself in the process. When you learn to detach, you stop trying to control outcomes, fix people, or force connections. You begin to understand that your peace doesn't depend on how others treat you. It depends on how you choose to respond. People who secretly hate you lose their power the moment you stop reacting. They thrive on your emotional engagement. Your frustration, your defense, your attempts to prove your worth. Every reaction feeds their ego and validates their sense of control. But detachment breaks that cycle. When you no longer chase explanations or retaliate against disrespect, you shift the balance of energy. You remind yourself that your value doesn't need validation, and your silence speaks louder than their chaos. That's not coldness, that's maturity. Detachment allows you to see clearly. When you're emotionally entangled, you interpret everything through pain, fear, or attachment. But when you step back, you start to see people for who they truly are, not who you wish they'd be. You stop negotiating your peace just to maintain connection. You stop explaining your worth to those determined not to see it. And slowly, you begin to realize that not everyone leaving your life is a loss. Some departures are divine direction. True detachment doesn't disconnect you from love. It deepens it. Because love without attachment is free from control, expectation, and fear. You love from abundance, not from need. You learn to bless people even as they walk away, to forgive without reopening wounds, to care without carrying. That's what real power looks like, not reacting, not chasing, not forcing. When you master detachment, your energy becomes untouchable. You stop being manipulated by words, moods, or approval. You live from within, not from reaction. The world around you may still shake, but your spirit remains still. That's what freedom feels like, not the absence of emotion, but the presence of peace that no one can take away. The truth is, not everyone who smiles at you carries love for you, and not everyone who walks away is your enemy. Life will reveal both, the ones who secretly resent you and the ones sent to remind you of your worth. But the real lesson isn't about identifying who hates you. It's about mastering how you respond when you begin to walk in peace. Discernment and detachment, no hidden agenda can touch you. Because what's meant for you doesn't depend on their approval, and what's within you can't be dimmed by their jealousy. Let their silence speak. Let their distance reveal. Let their hate expose itself. But don't trade your peace for their noise. You are not here to beg for love or defend your light. You are here to embody purpose, anchored in truth, guided by divine calm. The more you evolve, the less you chase. The more you detach, the stronger you become. Your peace is your protection, your discernment is your armor, and your stillness is your victory. So stand tall in your truth, even when the room vibrates with unspoken envy. Smile, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to let darkness define your spirit. In the end, the loudest revenge is silence, the deepest healing is peace, and the greatest power is walking away without bitterness. Remember this, you were never meant to fight for acceptance, you were meant to rise in awareness. Protect your energy, guard your heart, and keep shining, because when your spirit stays calm in the presence of hate, that's not weakness, that's divine authority.